Hello and welcome to episode 4 of PvP Tips and Tricks with me, Fearless. Today we're going to be looking at your Minecraft settings and hotkeys. So right here I've actually reset my Minecraft video settings to default so that I can actually show you all my custom things. So you got on normal and everything. So what you want to do, firstly, what I tend to do is turn my brightness up. That's just a personal preference. That's nothing to do with actual PvP. Now, GUI scale, I tend to have it at large. It's not so big that, you know, it's taking up the whole screen, but it's big enough for you to see items and chests and stuff like that. So, you know, one thing to start us off is given for, you should probably have Optifine, and you probably do have it if you play the game frequently. It tends to maybe double your FPS. So one thing that we're going to do straight off the bat here is turn Advanced OpenGL to Fancy. So you want to turn Chunk Loading to Multicore. Now, this depends on your CPU. If you have a pretty good CPU, then I would suggest using that. As well, turn Fog off. It's unnecessary. It's unnecessary really, because I mean, I don't see anyone actually use it, like choose to use it. I don't see the point in having Fog on. I don't like it, and that's just extra power that your PC is using. So right here, I'm using a texture pack, and you can actually go into details here and turn things like stars off if you have a custom texture pack. Pretty useful for your FPS. A good thing to do as well is to go into animations and turn them all off, and then, you know, go through and turn ones off turn ones on that you actually want. Right now I can go through right here, and I would like to have things like maybe water animations, texture animations, terrain animations, item animations, water particles, have my particles on all, and really the rest I would rather actually have off, maybe explosion on, and that's just a personal thing. And you know, having a lot of these off will actually boost your FPS significantly. Something else that you might want to do as well is, you know, smooth lighting. If your PC isn't the best, something that I do during recordings is I actually put it to minimum, but I have it on 100%. If you have it off, it's something that you can notice a lot. Like let me just go on to a server right here. You do notice it quite a bit, but you know, if you have a texture pack, smooth lighting is not something that you notice as much. Now let me look right here. So look, see, it's on minimum, it's off right now. You turn it on. There's not much of a difference really if you have a resource pack, but if you're using default, then it does make quite a big difference. Another thing is fancy graphics. If you have a texture pack, it doesn't make much of a difference, so that's a good thing for your FPS. So right here, it's off. Like leaves are where you can usually notice it. So the leaves right there, and I turn it on. They are sort of see-through, and you know, with the texture pack, it's not really that big of a deal, so that's another plus. Your render distance is just common sense, so I'm not even going to look at that. I also like to have max frame rate on unlimited, because that way, you know, you get unlimited, like the best FPS you get. So for PvP, the best settings are actually, well, in my opinion, are Quake Pro. Right here in my texture pack, it's called PvP mode. Quake Pro and view bobbing off. Turning view bobbing off means you can aim your fishing rod and your bow hits a lot more accurately. When you have view bobbing off, it's never like, there's no distortion of your view right there. See, it just goes straight at them. Same with the fishing rod, you can judge. If you have view bobbing on, the item is moving, and it just distorts your, see right here, the way the bow actually moves when you're walking, when you're running. Say for example, you're running, fighting someone, and then you turn around, you might actually just misjudge it because of the movement of the bow. Okay, so right here I'm using normal FOV, and if I turn up to Quake Pro, you can actually see I can see more of the world around me. So you have more aware, you're more aware of your surroundings. You can see people coming from behind more frequently. You can see, you know, bows coming at, arrows shooting at you. You're more aware of your surroundings, and that's something key when you're fighting in something, for example, survival games or a game mode like Chaos or FFA, where, you know, you need to see people coming at you from all directions. So right here is my keyboard. Now, what I have here is my WASD. This is hotkeying. So, for example, right here for sprint, as you can see on screen, I have Q for sprint, so I'll hold that down while I'm running. Now I'll toggle that, and you know, because it's next to the A key, when I actually if I hold it down and try and move to that side, I don't actually move. So that's why I have it there, so that when, you know, I'm running and I mess it up, I want to turn maybe, I can actually just click it again. It's right there. I don't have to like stretch or mess up, and there's no risk of me messing up because it's right next to the W key, which I'm always holding down. I also have my Optifine zoom on C right here. A lot of people use control, but I just use C. That's just personal preference as well. I find it easier because, you know, C and D, I almost like most of the time I'm using the WASD, so you know, C is pretty close. I'd rather use that. I have rather small hands, but I also have a small keyboard, so I know it's just personal preference for me. I tend to find C easy rather than control, because then C it sort of conflicts with my whole QWA thing. As well, a lot of people use the scroll wheel to, you know, like this right here. Look, my hand is not doing anything. A lot of people use scroll wheel, as you can see here on the screen, but I find that too difficult to actually use accurately. So what I do is I use the buttons. I actually use the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 buttons. That was actually up to 0. I use the 1 through 9 buttons on my hotbar. You know, maybe see if I want to go to 6. I'll be running here and I'll go 6. I'll go to 9. 9 is a bit of a stretch, but you know, I'm really accustomed to it, so you know, it's really just, so I'm running, maybe I'd have a cake there, so I'm running maybe, and I'd have a cake in S3, and I'd go bam, place it right there, and that'll be that. A lot of people have like really big mechanical keyboards, and there's a massive gap between the numbers and the top row of letters, so a lot of people can't actually do that, and they use the mouse scroll. But I've never had that problem. All my keyboards have been pretty small, and I've just grown accustomed to this, so regardless of what keyboard I have, I automatically do this. I myself don't use macros, but they tend to be pretty useful if you want to use stuff like flint and steel, maybe block hitting as well. For tab I have Y. I think a lot of people, I think most people actually have it as tab right there, but I actually have Y. I actually have it as Y. I have T as chat. I have them all located in a general area, like right here where my whole hand can space, except for number 9. I find that a lot more useful. I actually drop items with Z, because, you know, I think the default is something like, I think the default is actually Q. And when people are fighting, people actually tend to drop their weapons, and that's not something that I want to risk happening. So when I first got the game, after I played a couple rounds of SG, I actually changed it to Z, and I've had it like that since. I don't really ever need to change my items, like drop them. Really, I don't think many people do in things like SG and FFA and just PvP game modes. So I have it as Z because it's not something that you usually do. Like if you're in your inventory, maybe, like let me look here. If you're in your inventory, then you can just hotkey. You can just do it there. You don't have to be walking while you do it. So it's not something that you need to be able to do while walking, unless you're being chased and you want to drop food. But that's a very rare occasion. If you guys are wondering, this keyboard is the Aula Sabertooth. It is a Chinese keyboard, and it's pretty good. I like it. It's pretty small. So that is that, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of PvP Tips and Tricks. If you guys could leave a like rating for the return of the series and leave a suggestion in the comment section below of what I should do for the next episode, that would be amazing. Once again, I love you all. Thanks for the support. I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.